Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
Hello and welcome to this episode of our show. This is your host, Keith Doherty. Today our special guest is top real estate broker Debbie Walsh of KRS Realty based out of Slate Hill, New York. Debbie has recently returned in the last several weeks to being a broker of an independent brokerage after 6 years with Keller Williams. Prior to Keller Williams, she was the broker-owner of Minisink Valley Homes Real Estate. As a real estate agent and broker for the past 13 years, she has focused on residential, land, and commercial properties. Debbie holds several designations as well as being a graduate of the Realtor Institute. She is a two-time, in 2015 and 16, honoree of the Top Agent magazine, and a two-time, for 2015 and 16, winner of the Hudson Valley 5-Star Real Estate Agent. So with all that, Debbie, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here today.
Debbie, if we could start for our listeners, what led you into real estate? Was it something that you knew you always wanted to do, or did you maybe stumble into it?
Yeah, actually, it wasn't something that I was going to do initially. I was managing a salon at the time, and a friend of mine was in real estate managing her own office, and she kept asking me to join her, and I had no interest initially, and she kept at me, and the building I was managing the salon in was shutting down. So at that point, it was either move my salon or find something else to do, and I decided to join my friend because I figured it was time to maybe do something else, and I joined her in her office, and that was when I found my true calling. I really, really enjoyed the real estate. And since I've joined her, joined her office, I never looked back. Real estate is something that I really, really love to do.
Yeah, it's funny. I've interviewed a lot of agents and brokers, and I don't think some people have said, oh, you know, my grandmother or my parents were kind of in it, but nobody ever really says, you know what, I'm 6 years old, and when I want to grow up, I want to be a real estate agent. It's funny that it's not like, you know, it's not like I want to be a police officer or a doctor or things like that, but yet it's such a rewarding and a lucrative career, yet it doesn't seem to be, you know, common. You know, it's almost things people kind of just stumble into it, kind of like you said, you kind of just fell into it.
Right, exactly. I never thought it was something that I would stick with, which is why I always said, no, it's not for me, I'm not interested. And until you're in it, you have no idea how rewarding it is and how fulfilling it is, and it really makes me happy.
Excellent, Debbie. And could you maybe give us and talk maybe a little bit about some of the personal attributes, traits, or qualities that you think have most contributed to the success you've had in real estate, and then maybe talk a little bit about how you develop these?
Sure. I would say dedication, patience, perseverance, and especially listening skills. The average person probably has all of those, but in the real estate field, you definitely learn to develop them, because a lot of times you'll get clients that are coming to you saying that they're not seeing these skills in agents. And without these, you're not going to go very far with the clients, because somebody comes to you, they're looking for something specific. And if you're not listening to them and listening to their wants and needs, it's just not going to take you very far. And a lot of times you need to be very dedicated to hunting out what somebody is looking for. Sometimes it's just not laying right in front of you, so you really have to be dedicated and search out things, especially people that are looking for something very specific. And when you love this field, you're going to be very dedicated to doing whatever you can for your clients.
Do you think maybe you could give us a specific example of when these traits have played a role in your path towards success?
Yeah, a lot of times I've gotten clients that are extremely frustrated with the system. They've bounced from realtor to realtor to realtor because they're not being listened to, or certain realtors just don't have the patience for them. They're extremely picky about what they want, and they'll look at house after house after house, and a realtor will say, well, that house is perfect for you, I don't understand, and they just don't have the patience to continue with them. I have learned to be extremely patient. This is the biggest purchase that they'll ever make, and sometimes it just takes a little bit of time to either take them to the same house 4 or 5 times, or to take them to multiple houses that maybe you feel would have been perfect for them, but they feel is not perfect for them. So if you can be a little patient, sometimes you'll get a sale where somebody else who had no patience will lose a client. So if you can just hone these skills, it will make a huge difference in your business, huge.
Excellent. And I think, with every, path to success and in every, line of business, that it's always probably not a smooth road for people. Can you maybe talk a little bit about some of the major adversities or trials that you had to overcome in order to have the success that you've had?
Yeah. Sometimes there are so many, because you have personal and business. Like I myself, I have terrible migraines. And for anybody that has migraines, sometimes you can't even get up in the morning. And this is not the type of job that you can just call in sick. A lot of times people are flying in to see you. They're coming from hours away to look at a house, and you just can't call them up that morning and say, you know what, I can't see you today. So for me, I have to get out of bed no matter what, and that's been a real trial. I just got to get up no matter what. So for me, trying to do something like that when I don't feel well, me loving the job helps me to get out of bed on a day when I have a migraine and can't get my head off the pillow. Plus, when I came into real estate, that was right around the time that the market was crashing. Within the first 2 or 3 years, the market started to go down in New York, and it was hard to even stay in the game, and hundreds of real estate agents were dropping out of the market. But I knew this is what I wanted to do, and I persevered, because there'll always be somebody out there that's going to want to be out there looking for a house or selling. I also got exposed to toxic mold and had major problems breathing and was seriously ill. And somebody else, that might have turned them away from this business. But here I am today, still with problems breathing here and there. But again, I love this business, and it's just one of the things that I do to continue in the business. I take medicine when I have to.
Excellent. And I think you touched upon a little bit of this with what you just said, but, what kept you going? Obviously you hit some roadblocks, like you said. I mean, the migraines, you might be said, maybe this isn't a business for me because I can't. Like you said, you're dedicated, that people are coming in, and then you get exposed to the mold. Why didn't you give up? What kept you going?
There's nothing more fulfilling than somebody finding their dream home and the happiness, and you helped do this for them, especially when they said, I used 2 or 3 other realtors, and they just didn't care enough to help me get to this point. We looked for months and months, and I mean, the gratitude and the happiness, it's so fulfilling. I mean, there's no words to describe it. I mean, it just sometimes brings me to tears. The tears I see on people's faces at closing. I mean, just the happiness. There's no words to describe it. It's so fulfilling. Unless you're in that spot, you can't even begin to understand. Some people come into real estate saying, oh, this is so easy. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to do this. And they don't realize how hard it is until you're in that spot, and how gratifying the work is when you see it through to completion.
Excellent. And kind of maybe looking forward a little bit, could you talk a little bit about your vision, kind of where you see things in your career and your business going over the next 5 years?
As you said in the opening statement, I just left Keller Williams, and we just opened an office in Slate Hill. We're looking to be an office who gives back to the community. Our mission statement is changing lives every day. We're going to be doing regular fundraisers and whatever we can for our local animal shelters, which is something that's close to our hearts. Since this is a huge problem right now with people, their houses are going into foreclosure and short sales, and they're just leaving their animals. So the animal shelters are overflowing like they never have been before. And we're looking to help in domestic violence shelters. These are both things that we care very much about. We want to grow our team and build a brand that is very community-oriented. And that's something that's one of the reasons why we left to open our own office.
And you kind of mentioned a few things, but if we could kind of bring the point back around of, what do you feel the best way that you continue to market yourself as a real estate professional, and obviously, you're kind of helping with the brokerage, so that you can have continual growth?
Social media. I'm very big on social media. I'm very tech savvy. Facebook has probably the biggest amount of people on it. Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, LinkedIn, those are all things that we use and we've been using for years. When I was at Keller Williams, I was the social media educator, teaching all the agents how to use these different platforms, how to do it in your business. The best part of all of these platforms are they're free. You can put your business out there, put yourself, and they're free. And there's billions of people on these platforms. And it's the way to be in this day and age. If you want to be known, you have to be on social media.
And I think sometimes that real estate agents, there's a lot of misconception. I think you mentioned a point earlier where, the barrier to entry, I think, is pretty, it's pretty easy for people to get involved. And then people quit, and you have full-time agents and part-time agents. But I think in general, the population may, look at agents in a certain way. But so what do you think the biggest misconception or myth that people have about working with a real estate agent is?
I think probably that agents are maybe dishonest, or that they can't benefit the consumer, or that they're too expensive, when in reality that they can be your biggest advocate. When you hire an agent, it's just like hiring any other professional, like an attorney, an accountant, a plumber. You're hiring them to do a job for the experience that they bring to the table, and for them to do a job and do it correctly. And some people think, well, an agent, I don't need them. I can do this myself. I know what I'm doing. But the whole point of hiring an agent is so that you take advantage of their experience, their knowledge, and how they can do it correctly for you and save you the stress and the trouble of getting into something where you may not know what to do at a certain turning point in a transaction.
Yeah, I think that you made a key point there that, I think a lot of people assume that, selling a house is like selling a car. I'm just going to put a sign out front and I'll go ahead and show people my house and sell. But like as you pointed out, there's so many things behind the scenes that people don't realize with disclosures and legalities and potential lawsuits and issues that could arise that they're not trained to be able to see. Like you're not going to go to, your friend and be like, oh, hey, I got a toothache. Can you just pull my tooth out? You want to go to a professional that's going to be able to take care of you, that knows the ins and outs, so that you could potentially avoid any of those issues, which will cost you a lot more in the long run.
Right, especially now for safety's sake, too. You want to know who's coming into your house and can they afford that house.
Excellent. And if you were to get a call, let's say you get a call from a family member in another state and they want to sell their home, what advice would you give them about selecting an agent that could best serve their needs? Kind of how you take care of your people, you really listen and you really get to understand them. What would you tell them to look for so they could try to select somebody that would treat them kind of how you would?
Well, the first thing I would tell them is that I could recommend somebody for them, since I know agents in almost every state. But I would probably tell them, if they were going to look for an agent on their own, is that they would want to pick somebody who is going to listen to them and listen to their needs versus talking about themselves. You don't want somebody that's going to talk about themselves and the company and what the company's going to do. You want to pick somebody that's going to listen to your needs and listen to what you want versus, talking about just about themselves.
Absolutely. And, Debbie, if somebody wants to, if they need a real estate agent or a brokerage in the Slate Hill, New York area, what's the best way they can find out more information about you and how you can help them?
They could give us a call at our office. They could Google me. Our website is Orange New York Houses. I'd be happy to speak to anybody that has any questions. Our office number is 845-697-5225.
Excellent. Well, Debbie, I want to personally thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to come and share all your real estate experience and knowledge with our listeners. And if you guys are looking for, if you have any needs of any type of real estate needs, especially up in the Slate Hill, New York area, definitely reach out to Debbie. What we'll do is we'll have a link below this interview, which will have a link to her website and any other contact information. We'll get her phone number and anything like that. So if you are looking or need any help in that area, definitely reach out and see how Debbie can help you. So until our next show, everybody, have a great day, and we'll talk to you all soon.
Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.